Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all enjoying your Sunday, wherever you are joining us from around the world. It's time for a very special event. This is the PDC Racing Sunday Special. It's the second of these special Sunday events that PDC have arranged. And this weekend, it is the Partners and Relatives Race. Essentially, the PDC Racing League, which takes place on Friday evenings, broadcast live here on Yearone Racing TV. Has been growing and growing now. It's into its second season of racing, and as a result of the growing interest, it would appear that a lot of the friends and families of the drivers that compete in the PDC Racing League have caught the iRacing bug and they want to give it a go. And so this Sunday special, a one-off 10-minute sprint race, will give them the opportunity to do just that and get out there in the identical Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars that the professional drivers, if you like, certainly those with more experience by racing, competing on a weekly basis around the Lime Rock Park circuit as well. This is the classic circuit, so no chicanes. It's a fast-flowing circuit, really good fun to drive. Cars that are very good fun to drive as well, and that really is the whole point of this event. It's supposed to be a bit of fun on a Sunday afternoon for some drivers that maybe we have not seen racing before. It's a really interesting entry list of drivers that we've got here, of all ages, and most of them with little to no experience of racing in on iRacing or in anything for that matter, but they all have some sort of relation to the PDC Racing League drivers that we see racing every Friday night. So looking forward to this one. A fairly simple format for the afternoon's races. The drivers at the moment are in the final 10 minutes of a practice session, a 40-minute practice session to try and learn the ropes and get to grips with the cars and the track, which, as you can see, is going better for some than others. Claire Pulser there, the first of the drivers that we've seen having a bit of a moment there, tangling with teammates, it would seem, going through the exit of turn number one. But yes, they have this practice session which is coming towards its end, and then a 10-minute race, a random grid, so no qualifying session to deal with. It's just a 10-minute sprint, and because of the fairly wide variety of experience and speed out there, it could be a pretty frenetic 10 minutes, because it's one thing to be able to get one quick lap in, but as we see, even with the professionals, putting that together into a full race run, consistent lap times, no mistakes, that can be a real challenge. And the level of concentration it takes to drive these things, even in a virtual situation, can be quite a challenge. So, yeah, this is going to be intriguing 10 minutes of racing. In practice, then, at the moment, the time's starting to come in, and a few drivers appear to have distanced themselves slightly from the pack. It looks like maybe a couple of drivers have maybe had a bit of tuition from their better halves or their more experienced family members, and so maybe they were the ones that set the times earlier on, but certainly a couple of drivers to watch for. Martina Ward seems to be going reasonably quickly in the number 23 car, the wife of David Ward, who is a regular frontrunner and podium finisher in the PDC Racing League. Spin there, though, for the 33 car. That was supposedly Pip Hammond, but I'm going to guess it's actually Esther Quatemere, who is the partner of Pip, who is in the number 33 car at the moment. She's just had a bit of a rotation there coming out of turn number one. Yeah, Martina Ward appears to be one of the quickest drivers out there. The quickest is Jake Wood, car number 10, the son of Jason Wood, an avid footballer apparently, and the winner of the first Sunday special that we did. So the number 10 car we would expect to be up at the sharp end, and indeed Jake is at the moment with a time of a 1 minute best times are over 58.8. It's just about a sub 1 minute lap around here when you're on the pace, and he's 3/10 quicker than Martina Ward in second. Third quickest apparently is Ben Hansey, but we know that Ben is a very experienced driver, so I think he maybe was just out there for a bit of fun and maybe to guide a few of the other drivers out around the track earlier on. Alex Knox is fourth. Alex in the 888 car, the father of Chris Knox, another very, very rapid driver, Chris Knox, but Alex is a former Formula 4 1600 racer who had a podium last time in the Sunday specials. The other podium finisher last time was Jess Henson as well, who's at the wheel of the number 16 car. Jess is in 6th place at the moment, but along with Alex Knox and Jake Wood, those three made up the top three finishers last time we had one of these Sunday special races. And, well, it doesn't look as if they're going to to have it all their own way this time. Although Jake Wood is quickest, Alex Knox is only 4th, and Jess Henson, as I said, down in 6th place. So maybe their one-lap pace isn't quite quick as they like, but who knows? Perhaps they learned a thing or two last time, and their racecraft might help them out in the race itself. That's what you always want to see as you come out to the final corner, is 2 cars pointing the wrong way right in front of you. One, I think, was Naomi Best, possibly, in the number 303 car, the wife of Ben Best, who live in Wales. And Naomi is heading back out to the pit lane. Yes, that was the red and white Shell V-Power livery car that spun. I think the other one might have actually been Callum Sharp as well, who's just fast-tracked to the pit lane. 4 minutes left in the session then. And we've had 12 cars out there setting times so far. I anticipate we might have maybe just 11 starters, or maybe we've had a late addition to the entry in the shape of the number 40 car, but everybody else present and correct. And the lap times are reasonably tight, actually. You've got those top 2, Jake Wood and Martina Ward. They definitely seem to be the pace setters right now. 3 tenths between them, and then they've got a further 8.5 tenths over everybody else, basically, but then it's quite close. The next second covers the next 3 cars, so that's Ben Hansey, Alex Knox and Claire Poulsen, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and the 6th place driver, Jess Henson, is then another couple of seconds back. So I think the way the race will work, once we get the initial let's be honest, of the first couple of corners out the way, it should settle down into a couple of nice little battles, as everyone seems to have somebody that's at a similar pace to them. Even when you go right down to the bottom of the timing screens, last 3 drivers in practice, Esther Quaitmere, Richard Toon and Billy Wood, they're 10th, 11th and 12th overall, but the 3 of them are separated by less than 2 tenths of a second, as Naomi Best has another spin, this time at the first corner. And I'm laughing, but I know full well that if I was in this race, that I would be doing exactly the same thing. It is a very, very tricky thing to do, to jump into the iRacing simulator and immediately be good at it, you know. And I've spoken to some professional racing drivers who have been competing in iRacing leagues recently. Richard Toon also having a bit of a spin there at the far end of the circuit. But yeah, I've spoken to a few drivers, people who have won races, even championships at international levels, who have jumped into iRacing and not been able to get round a corner without doing exactly what Jake Wood has just done, and Martina Ward. In fact, turn 1 is a popular place to have an accident in the last 30 seconds or so. That's about 4 or 5 cars I've seen off there in recent memory. Martina next first gear, gets going again. The 11 car was Billy Wood. Oh dear, there's a real traffic jam as he tries to rejoin the track. But yes, to finish the point I've been trying to make, even professional drivers struggle when they get onto iRacing. It is very different in a way to racing in a real car, and the big difference is you can do that without serious damage to the car. Damage is switched off, by the way, for this race. You're probably beginning to get an idea as to why that decision was made. Otherwise, we might not have that many cars left by the time we get to the end of 10 minutes of racing. But yeah, it's a tricky thing to get the hang of. It really does require lots of seat time, lots of practice, and it's definitely one of those things that you see drivers get better at the more they do of it. And so that really is the idea of these things. And who knows, maybe we'll see a few of these drivers appearing in things like the PDC Racing League in the future. Definitely some of those that are regular front runners in the Sunday specials probably would have the outright speed to compete for decent finishing positions in some higher level racing. And Morton here, we're following through the final turn at the wheel of car number 92. Leanne is the partner of Roger Morton, and she just missed out on a podium last time we had one of these Sunday specials. She was 4th place in race number 1. This is not a championship, it's just a sort of series of races, and hopefully there are going to be a few more of these to come. Round goes the number 11 of Billy Wood again. I've yet to see get around turn number 1 without spinning, but Billy, the daughter of Jason Wood, partner of Ben Bateman as well, so definitely keeping it in the family with Billy, Jason and Ben, all racers in PDC-related competitions. And as she tries to rejoin the circuit, clatters into the side of, was that Toon again? Yes, it was. So a few drivers rather out of luck, it would seem, in this free practice session, which, as you can see, is now coming to a close. The checkered flag is out, and we are good to go racing then. So the grid, yes, is going to be a random grid. oh good, because the drivers I'm seeing who are appearing at the front of the grid are not necessarily the ones that were at the front of the practice session. So we've got Martina Ward, who has been given the pole position, and Callum Sharp alongside. Callum is the youngest driver we've got racing with us. He is just 7 years of age. The son, though, of very rapid racer Ben Sharp. So if he's got even an ounce of the talent that his father's got, he should be on the pace. He's starting on the front row. Alex Knox and Esther Quaitmere are on row 2, ahead of Jess Henson and Naomi Best. Then, the race winner last time and the fastest man from practice, Jake Wood, is only 7th on the grid, with Billy Wood alongside. Then Claire Palser and Leanne Morton, Ben Hansey and Richard Toon at the back. Although, as I say, I'm pretty sure it's not Ben Hansey who's at the wheel of car number 40, but we'll try and get that information for you if we can. The grid then is set. We're ready to go racing for 10 minutes around the classic Lime Rock Park circuit. The lights go on. There's a bit of creeping there from Callum Sharp. He stops the car. He's not going to class as a jump start. I wonder. The lights go out. Away they will go. And he hangs back, in fairness there. Doesn't get a good start, so certainly no advantage gained. Martina Ward will hold the lead then down towards turn number 1. Alex Knox benefits from the slow start from Sharp and jumps into second, and there's contact further back already. Billy Wood is involved in that one, I believe, and Richard Toon. And those two are somersaulting their way down the pit straight in very spectacular fashion. In fact, no, it's Jake Wood. Sorry, Jake Wood, the number 10 car involved. Number 9, Claire Palser, is off as well at turn number 1. Richard Toon, I thought it was him involved because he was at the bottom of the timing screen. That's because he hadn't actually got going yet. Claire Palser into the pit lane. Jake Wood also into the pit, so it looks very unlikely now that we'll have a repeat winner. We've also got a car off in the background there. Leanne Morton and Richard Toon are both off track according to my timing screen, but at the front it is Martina Ward and Alex Knox who have escaped from the rest of the field as they come round towards the end of the opening lap of racing. We should get either 9 or 10 laps of racing in here, I think, in the 10-minute duration, so plenty of time for this battle to develop in front of us. Out of the final corner, down the Samposi straightaway they come then, and less than a second separating the top 2 at the end of lap 1. Jess Henson is 3rd, Naomi Best 4th, and Ben Hansey, or whoever it is in the number 40 car, has just gained 6 positions on the opening lap to go into 5th place. In fact, I mean that 4th place now, because Naomi Best has just had a moment somewhere, I believe. There is, a spin just behind Hansey. That was Best going round again, I'm afraid. So Naomi was running pretty strongly off the road, and Martina Ward has just got off as well. So Alex Knox has got the lead. Callum Sharp has had a spin at turn number 1. It's going to be survival of the fittest, this, I think. Who can make the fewest mistakes over the course of the 10 minutes? That's probably going to be the driver that you see on the top step of the podium. But Alex Knox, we always knew, would be rapid. He was on the podium last time. He also set the fastest lap in that race in the last of the Sunday specials. And Alex, now that he's out in front by 3.8 seconds, might be hard to catch. Second place is Jess Henson, as Richard Toon has just headed to the pit lane. There, the number 40 car will keep saying it's Ben Hansey because that's the only information we've got. He's in 3rd position, and Martina Ward right behind. So Martina Ward was in the lead and had a spin at turn number 1. I don't know whether we'll be able to bring you a replay of what happened there because she was feeling the pressure from Alex Knox. But Alex has now, of course, got the lead as a result of that mistake and is setting the fastest lap times of the race, 1 minute 0.77. And Martina's got around again. Maybe we don't need a replay because I think it's probably fairly right to assume that it was a similar sort of moment to that happened a lap ago. Just a bit too much speed into that first corner. Thankfully, though, she had enough of a margin over Leanne Morton in 5th that she's able to rejoin still in 4th place. There's Morton in the purple car in the background being chased by a lap down car, I think, because Naomi Best is actually in 6th position, and that might be Claire Palser, I think, the number 9 car that was just behind. Yes, it was, but Claire's had a spin now. The car that Gavin Johnson would normally drive, and that's because Claire is Gavin's partner, and that is the car that would normally be driven by Pip Hammond, the number 11 machine, but Billy Wood at the wheel now is very slow out of the final corner. And here we're seeing a replay, I believe, of what happened to Billy, and through one of the quick right-handers just loses control and just stopped, in fact. So that's interesting. I was expecting a spin. There wasn't a spin. She just stopped and pulled into the pit lane. So there we go. Anyway, back to the race leader. Alex Knox is man out in front by now 11 seconds over Ben Hansey in 2nd. And Martina Ward in 3rd position. Leanne Morton is in 4th place. And I believe I'm getting a message through from Pip Hammond who is one of the organisers of the race, that we may be restarting the event, apparently. So there is some sort of an issue, I think, that has taken place, and the race may well be restarted. I think a few drivers have maybe lost connections. That might be what it is. I can see a few drivers have left the session. So it's a shame, but it means we get to start all of this all over again. And Alex Knox, who looked as if on for a pretty straightforward victory, maybe is going to have to work a bit harder for this. We can get Callum Sharp through here. He's also had a spin, but then probably quicker to list the drivers that haven't had moments of some sort early on in the race. Callum still continuing to circulate then, so I don't think everyone's got this message about the race possibly being restarted. Yeah, the others that have had issues, I think, with connections maybe, are understandably a little disappointed with that. They want to try and get a full race in, so they'll try to give them that opportunity as soon as we can. To then around, I think he's got the message now, pulling off to the side of the road. And Martina Ward, though, definitely hasn't. She's continuing to go quickly. Alex Knox has now pitted. Ben Hansey has as well. So, yeah, more and more of the drivers now are getting the memo. Martina's enjoying herself, though, and she'll be a bit miffed because she was leading the race early on. She clearly has the speed to fight for a race victory. Actually, this reset we're doing gives her a good chance to maybe fight for a win after all, because she kind of thrown away her shot at a victory this running of the race with the spin that she had here at turn 1. She appears to have learned from her mistakes, though, because that was a pretty, well, almost perfect run through the first corner. She runs a bit wide going out through the second apex. It's a tricky corner, that, though. It tightens through the second apex. Very easy to run a bit wide on the exit. She's just set the fastest lap of the race that never happened, 59.56, but she is one of only 2 or 3 drivers that is still circulating. And there will be a little bit of a delay, I'm sure, before we get the second running of the race up, because there are certain admin roles that have to be done by the organisers to set the new server up, set the new race up. So that will take a few minutes. So I suppose, in Martina's defence, there's not much harm in continuing to drive around, get a few extra laps of practice whilst everyone else is sat around waiting. I think I'm right in saying it's only Martina and Leanne Morton that are still going round. There is Leanne, we're on board with her now, weaving her way through the first sector of the lap, out onto the very high-speed second half. It's one of those tracks that starts off quite technical through the first couple of sort of hairpinny corners, and then it really opens out again at the back, especially with the chicanes not being part of the layout. There would normally be a chicane just where Leanne has driven past on the right-hand side. The option for a tighter hairpin there, you can see on the outside, the Lime Rock Park circuit with lots of different, sort of all similar but slightly different variations of the track that are on offer. All of them, I believe, available on iRacing, but to keep it nice and simple, they've gone for the classic, fast-flowing version of Lime Rock Park for this Sunday special, like the slightly more technically demanding version that was used for the actual PDC Racing League in Season 1. So the latest news we've had is that the race is going to be restarted. I think the problem is that a couple of drivers either haven't had the message or are willfully ignoring the message in order to get a bit more practice in before the rerun of the race. But as soon as we get any more news on in that second race we'll be getting underway, we will let you know. But most of the drivers have quit the session and are waiting patiently for people like Leanne Morton and Martina Ward to join. In fact, I think Martina has now stopped because Leanne Morton is being shown as the inverted commas race leader. Leanne and also a couple of others actually are still moving around on the timing screen. Alex Knox, for example, so I think maybe a couple of people are still in the session. Leanne Morton has set a best lap time so far of 1 minute 5.3, which is a little off the pace, but she's taking it. This is probably quite a sensible approach, actually. When we get the race restarted, I think it would be a good idea, maybe not push too hard and just try and stay on the island, because with everyone else going hell for leather and making mistakes left, right and centre, maybe this slow and steady approach might just be enough to win the race. Although this is exceptionally slow. I think she has now slowed down as a result of the race being red flagged. Eventually. So we are, I believe, almost ready to go and change over server. So what we might do is take a short break, I think, whilst that is going on, and we will be right back with that the second running of the same race. I think it is because of some connection issues. Basically, drivers lost halfway through the race because of some connection problems, which is a shame. It was turning into a nice race, but we'll have another random grid, of course, for the next running of the race in a few minutes' time, and imagine they'll skip the practice session. So we should be straight back into racing very shortly. Another jumbled grid, and still just that 10-minute sprint around the Lime Rock Park circuit to decide the outcome of the second ever PDC Racing Sunday Special, the partners and relatives race. So we'll take a few moments break. Don't go anywhere though. Racing's still on its way. We'll try and get everything reset as quickly as we can and bring you the next go of this race, hopefully in just a few minutes' time. Well, let's try that all again then, shall we? We are almost ready to get the rerun of this Partners and Relatives Sunday special PDC race underway. The technical issue, I believe, was something to do with black flags. A few drivers got black flags in the first attempt to run the race, and there were some issues with getting those black flags rescinded or something to that effect. So they've basically decided to open up a new server. They've given them a very quick 5-minute practice session, which I believe has now finished. And the race, therefore, will get underway once again with another random grid, which appears, though, to be not too dissimilar to the one that we had. In fact, it might even be the same grid. I think they've carried the same grid over. So it's Martina Ward and Callum Sharp who share the front row. Alex Knox and Esther Quaitmere on row 2. It is indeed the same way they lined up for race 1, I think. Jess Henson and Naomi Best on the third row. Jake Wood, the winner last time, and Claire Pulser share row 4. Then it's Leanne Morton, Ben Hansey, and Richard Toon. So lost somebody along the way who has not made it in. Jess Henson's there. Billy Wood. Yeah, Billy Wood has not made it through, unfortunately, but the other 11 drivers have. We're just waiting for the last couple to join the grid. Martina Ward, Callum Sharp, and Esther Quaitmere. The drivers are just starting to do so now. So we'll try this again then. 10 minutes of racing around the classic layout at the Lime Rock Park circuit. And this should be intriguing and entertaining 10 minutes of racing, I think, which gets underway now. Everyone present and correct, and it's a slightly better start this time from Callum Sharp, but Alex Knox will get ahead of him. Now, Esther Quaitmere and Martina Ward did not make it onto the grid in time, so I'm not sure whether they'll be able to start from the pit lane, or maybe they'll be out of the race altogether. Into turn 1, and there's contact already, and that involves, I'm afraid, Callum Sharp, who appears to have been turned around, and maybe Claire Pulser involved in that as well. So quite a few drivers have been delayed. Ben Hansey with the black car, and Richard Toon as well, possibly. And there's the replay. Hansey got tipped upside down there, and others, Leanne Morton, maybe that was, who I think did well to avoid serious contact. Another replay here from on board with Richard Toon. So it's Toon, I think, that gets into the back of Hansey. Oh, into the side, in fact. Oh, and then into Callum Sharp as well. So that was double trouble there for Richard Toon. 2 bits of contact in the same accident. And Richard has continued. I believe he's okay, actually, after that. He's in 5th position, but the others might not be too pleased with him. Oh, that's the race lead of Alex Knox. Alex Knox has lost it through the final corner, back into the track. Oh, and collects Jake Wood, who has had absolutely no luck at all in either of the attempts to run this race. And Jake Wood will rejoin the track, but he's going to lose a lot of time. Here's the replay. Look, Wood comes out of the corner. Alex Knox is off to the right-hand side, spins back into the track, and Jake Wood, unfortunately, has a fairly sizable barrel roll down the first part of the pit straight, and that takes out of contention for the second attempt at running this race in a row, actually, the winner from last time out, because Jake didn't even make it into turn 1 last time we tried to get the race underway before he was involved in contact. He's once again in the pit lane now and won't be best pleased with that, I would imagine. So Jake Wood, son of Jason Wood, who is an avid footballer as well, but yeah, that was a fairly brutal start to this race on this occasion. What does this mean then? Well, it means that Jess Henson has the lead this time around, with Naomi Best second and Leanne Morton third. So it really is girl power at the front of the field right now. Richard Toon is in 4th position, Ben Hansey 5th, and they're the only 5, I think, that have avoided any serious contact or delay. Ben Hansey there skipping the chicane as well. So oh dear, Richard Toon has a spin again now through the first corner, and I believe there have been some more technical issues, and we're going to have, I believe, another reset, so I'm hearing. We'll wait for official confirmation of that. For now, the race is continuing with Henson out in front, Best second, Morton third, Alex Knox 4th, Ben Hansey 5th, despite that chicane cutting that he just did. Then Richard Toon and Callum Sharp 6th and 7th. So out of the race, or in the pit lane, is Jake Wood. Esther Quaitmere never started. Martina Ward has got on track, though, so that's good news. Martina made it out. There she is, going through the first corner, onto what will be her first full lap of the session. And 9th place is Martina right now, and heads out of the first corner. Yeah, Martina will be miffed because she should have been up at the front of the grid and was leading the first attempt to start the race. This one's gone wrong again. sharp there with a big slide through the final turn as well. So Sharp, order at which he lost the lead earlier on. He gets through a little bit better on this occasion. Heads into turn number 1. Again, pretty exuberant though. Locks up the front wheel. Round he goes again. Remind you though, Callum is just 7 years of age, and he is doing a remarkably good job. Actually, I certainly couldn't do this when I was his age, but that is one of the great things actually about sim racing and video games and things like that, because it really does bring motorsport. It makes it more accessible to all kinds of people, especially, of course, the younger generations who really are in touch with this sort of thing. It allows them to get into racing a lot earlier than they normally would be able to, and for significantly less money than traditionally would be required. I mean, if you wanted to go racing back when I were a lad, at 7 years old, it would require several thousands of pounds to go karting, and even then you weren't guaranteed to have the best equipment and the best tyres, and you weren't guaranteed to be any good at it, really. So, you know, families would often spend lots and lots of money for their sons and daughters to go racing, and it didn't really ever go anywhere. Whereas now, with things like iRacing readily available to these kids, they are able to go and get a bit of virtual practice before they head out onto the racetrack. And already we're seeing more and more young drivers coming into real-world racing with limited or maybe even no karting experience, and all of their experience has come from the world of sim racing. So, third time hopefully will be a charm then. It looks like we are resetting once again. There's a new session, I believe, that's being created as we speak. And we will aim to get the race to you with all of the issues that we've had sorted out, because we want to get this race done. It looks it's setting up to be a very good race with lots of competitive drivers, lots of people who are capable of finishing on the podium, and it's certainly unpredictable so far, the bits of racing that we have had. And yeah, hopefully when the race gets going once more, we'll be able to bring you the full 10 minutes of action. So I think we'll step aside for another couple of minutes just to give us a chance to make the exchange to the new session. Then we will be back with you with more racing, hopefully the full 10 minutes of racing action for this PDC Racing Sunday Special Partners and Relative Race. Stay with us, be patient, we will reward you with 10 minutes of great racing action. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you, those of you who are watching, for your continued patience. The PDC Racing Sunday Special, Take 3, being brought to you here from the Lime Rock Park Classic Circuit. This wonderful idea of these partners and relatives races that the PDC Racing League have been putting on. This the second edition of it, and just a couple of technical issues and admin mistakes and problems I think have been made, so we're going to try and hopefully get the race to you this time, and the drivers are slowly filtering into the new session for this practice session that's undergoing now, and then the 10-minute race that will follow. And we've got the race started twice. On both occasions they've had similar but slightly different outcomes. Jake Wood, arguably the favourite to win after his victory last time, has on both occasions failed to get to the end of the opening lap before being involved in rather a spectacular accident. So Jake will just be wanting to stay out of everyone's way, I think, when we do get the race back underway. Callum Sharp has been on the front row both times, but maybe hasn't made the best of starts. And Martina Ward, who we're following now, has definitely proven herself to be one of the quickest drivers. She was leading the first attempt at this race before spinning. Sadly, though, did not get into the session on time to take up a very strong grid position last time round, so she'll be grateful for this second reset of the night. We're on board with Martine now over the crest of the hill, heading into the final couple of corners. Very, very sideways and over the curb, and that is definitely something that these drivers will be learning. You can drive these cars sideways, and you have to, really, to get the best out of them. You don't want to be up on that curb, especially with just the inside wheel, because that transfers the weight all over onto one side of the car. If you're sideways, then the left-hand side of the car already has all of the weight on it, and it will spin very quickly. That almost sounded like I knew what I was talking about then, didn't it? Callum Sharp seems to have done something similar through the final corner as well. He's just going to bounce his way back onto the road. These Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars, though, they are designed for drivers relatively little experience. This is a genuine category of racing that's very popular over in America. It's a one-make single-seater series. The cars run with grooved tyres, so they don't have a huge amount of mechanical grip from the tyres, not a huge amount of aero either. They've got these fairly basic front and rear wings that you can see. They don't generate that much grip, so the cars slide around a lot, and because they don't have an abundance of power, you've got to keep the momentum up through the corners, and that's why the quickest drivers will be driving them sideways through all of the turns, especially the high-speed stuff. There's a real knack to it. You've got to be the right amount of sideways for the right amount of time on the right line through the corner. If you hit the sweet spot, they are a lot of fun to drive, so I've heard, but they can be quite tricky to get to grips with, because you carry a bit too much speed into the corner. They don't have that aerodynamic grip to catch you, so it's a fine line that you've got to tread, and as I said a moment or two ago, it really takes hours and hours of practice to get it right, and the whole point of these friends and relatives races is that these drivers have not had hours and hours of practice, and a couple of mistakes have been made, but hey, it's all part of the learning process. They're very brave, actually, to be doing it in front of us all, and that was not a great place to find yourself stopped for Callum Sharp, right at the exit of the penultimate corner there, over a blind crest, and he unfortunately does get collected by a couple of drivers there as they came through. There's now a real traffic jam developing up the inside, masterfully avoided there for Claire Palser. Claire Palser, the partner of Gavin Johnson, regular podium finisher in the PDC Racing League. Claire has driven a racing car once around the Rockingham circuit on a parade lap, I believe, one of PDC's Porsche 924s, but has never raced at speed. Yeah, so Claire had some lightning quick reactions there, though. So that was, that was an interesting moment, I'm sure, as she came down the hill to find two cars in the middle of the road. It's to Quaitmere here coming through. We've got essentially the PDC Racing League, organised by two people, Gavin Johnson and Pip Hammond, both of their better halves racing with us today. So that'll be a really interesting battle between Claire Palser and Esther Quaitmere to see who comes out on top. And I'm sure that Gavin and Pip are watching on with interest, and they're not technically supposed to have favourites, but I'm pretty sure they both do. And they both like to see their other halves up on the top step of the podium, and they've both been reasonably evenly matched. Whoa, what was that all about? Martina Ward was carrying a bit more speed than Esther was through that corner, I think, and on the drive round and tried to drive through her, which again, you learn with experience, doesn't really tend to work. Well, in fairness, actually, Esther did kind of close the door there mid-corner. I'm sure that's what Martina would say anyway. Martina came out of that a lot better. Didn't end up spinning, carries on her merry way, and possibly just in the nick of time, the session is over. So, fingers crossed, everyone. Touch wood as we speak. I've got fingers and toes crossed that we're going to get this race started this time around with the same grid as the original race. So it is Martina Ward on pole, Callum Sharp alongside, desperate to try and get a good finish this time around. Alex Knox and Esther Quaitmere are on road 2. Then Jess Henson and Naomi Best. Jake Wood, he survived the first lap this time. That's going to be the big question. He's got Claire Palser alongside, then Leanne Morton, and Hansi possibly, and Richard Toon at the back of the grid. Waiting then for Callum Sharp to arrive. There he goes, spawns into place, and we have our 11 drivers on the grid. 10 minutes of racing around the Lime Rock Park Classic 1.5 mile circuit. Who gets off the line best? It should be Martina Ward if experience tells us anything, and it is. It's a slightly better start, probably the best start that Callum Sharp's had so far. He still loses second place to Alex Knox. At the inside comes Jess Henson in the number 16 as well, and she will be side by side with Callum into turn number 1. We get through without contact. Oh, don't be silly, Andy. Of course we won't. One car exit stage left. That was Callum Sharp. Around goes Naomi Best as well. And Callum Sharp may have got a better start, but there must have been some contact there. I heard a clatter of banging wheels, and next thing we knew, he was off in the barriers. Naomi Best picks her way back on the road as well. But I think if we've learned anything so far this afternoon, it's that that's not necessarily a bad thing. There will be other accidents. There will be other drivers that go off the road, and maybe falling to the back early on is not the worst place to be. Case in point, around goes Claire Palser there through the quick right-hander at the bottom of the hill. Doesn't hit anything, but she's definitely going to be delayed, falls right to the back, and that means that private battle between Gavin and Pip's other halves is now going the way of Esther Quaitmere, who's into 5th position, watching Jake Wood, who, breaking news everybody, is about to complete a lap of racing without being put upside down. He's actually about to try and overtake someone as well. He's going up the inside of Jess Henson here for a podium place, and Jake Wood could well become now once again the favourite to win this one. He's up the inside through the double apex right-hander at turn 1. He gets through the second apex ahead, drifts a bit wide onto the grass though, gets sideways, saves it just about, but Jess sees a chance to get back through, and Alex Knox has spun. Alex Knox has spun from second position, and the car that has the Stewart Formula 1 team livery on it from the late 1990s, he's had a spin. So too in the background, look, as Leanne Morton, and those two are probably going to find themselves close to each other on track by the time Alex rejoins. It's a shame for Alex, because last time we tried to get this race in, he was running in the top 2 and had a spin as well, and that was actually the demise on that occasion of Jake Wood, because as Alex rejoined the track, Jake did him, but thankfully no such incident on this occasion. Esther Quaitmere now into 4th position, 4 seconds behind Jess Henson, so she's going to try and get on the podium. She has to get a move on, especially because the number 40 car of Hansi is right behind, and in the slipstream they're also being caught by the recovering Claire Palser. So that battle that I teed up between Esther and Claire looks as though it's going to happen, because through goes Hansi, and here comes Claire Palser with a good run off the final corner. She's up the inside of Esther Quaitmere as they cross the start-finish line, but pulled out of the slipstream, didn't have the straight line speed to stay there. Late on the brakes though, but not quite late enough. Out of the pit lane, by the way, has gone Callum Sharp, the 7-year-old, I remind you, who has been quicker actually than the result he's likely to get. We'll say about him, I think, because as he has another spin now, sadly he is a lap down and at the back of the field. But if he were to get his head down, you'd see that some of the quick laps that he's capable of doing are very competitive. But as with all of these drivers, consistency is the issue. It's not so much putting in one quick lap that's proving to be the challenge. It's putting in 8 or 9 of them and completing a race without drama. This is the fight for second place, because Jess Henson is back ahead of Jake Wood. As that happened, we saw this place change at the start of the lap, with Wood going up the inside, and Henson has now taken that second place back away. And this is what happened. Jake Wood caught Martina Ward for the lead, was thinking about sizing her up for an overtake, carried too much speed into turn 1, and that's the classic turn 1 spin. A bit too much speed in, and then once you get the steering lock on, you don't have the downforce to get through. Oh, but Henson's now lost it at the same place and throws away second position. This does appear to be the race in which no one wants to finish second. Jake Wood is back into the runner-up spot now, and Ben Hansey third. Henson's rejoined in fourth position by the looks of it. Made that fifth, make that sixth, because Quaitmere and Palser have both gone through, and Henson, in fact, has dropped all the way down to eighth position now. So Henson, I think, may have had another spin, possibly somewhere as she was trying to rejoin. So Martina Ward now finds herself with a 10.5 second cushion. There she goes, past the spinning Callum Sharp at the top of the hill. Martina leads the way, coming out to complete another lap by, over 10.5 seconds over Jake Wood in second. Ben Hansey's 5 seconds further back in third. Esther Quaitmere is another 9 seconds back in fourth, except she's not, because Alex Knox has gone back past her. Knox is going to be one to watch here, I think, because we know that he's every bit quick enough to fight for a victory. We're not going to have time to catch the front runners again now. He's 25 seconds behind our race leader, but Knox could still get on the podium if he really pushes on. There is Alex Knox through the final corner. There is Claire Palser behind, and then Esther Quaitmere and Leanne Morton and Jess Henson. So this is really where the racing is. Henson going up the inside of Morton in the background and goes through. So Leanne Morton drops down to 8th position. Jess Henson's fight back begins as she picks her way into the 7th spot. And Claire Palser in front, but Henson's had another half spin. A lot of drivers seem to be struggling with that first corner. That is by far and away the most popular place to have a spin, and it's so easy to do. It's obviously this point of the track is at the end of the pit straight. But then you've got to try and carry as much of that speed as possible through the corner, and it's just not easy to do. So Henson falls back behind Morton into the 8th position. Already about halfway through the race now. There's Claire Palser chasing down Alex Knox, but Knox, of course, has just overtaken her recently, so the gap is actually going out. Knox on the previous lap was the fastest driver on the track, but now that honour definitely goes to Jake Wood. So Jake Wood, in her last time out in the Sunday Special, just set a lap time that was about 3 seconds faster than the race leader. It was the fastest lap of the race for Jake Wood, and he's now under 8 seconds behind the race lead. There he goes. It's going to be tight, this, though. Whether he's going to have time to catch Martina, get there, but on the last lap at this race, if Martina just doesn't make any mistakes, then she might just have enough to hang on here. The gap's actually settled back out again on this lap at about 8 seconds, so I wonder whether maybe Martina had a bit of an off on the previous lap. Her previous lap was over 2 seconds off her personal best. She's a lot cleaner this time around, though. Her last lap was a 1 minute 2.98. I suspect this one's going to be back down towards the 1 minute bracket. She crosses the start finish line, and the lap time, 1 minute dead. That was a good guess, wasn't it? 1 minute 00.00. Couldn't have been closer to 60 seconds, that. It is still slower than Jake Wood, but in fact, no, it's not. It's 9/100ths quicker. So Jake Wood's time pretty much matching that of the race leader. So again, goes to show that if Martina can keep it on the black stuff, she'll be able to hang on to the race victory here, onto the 6th lap of racing now. We anticipate about 9 laps, I reckon, the distance. So Martina Ward is down the hill, bypasses the tight chicane there at the lowest point of the track, then starts climbing uphill again. This looks interesting. This is Naomi Best having a spin, and she's a lap behind the cars that she was around there, I think, after some earlier dramas, but she is enjoying herself still. Personal best lap time is 1 minute 6.1. Is reasonably competitive, actually, certainly around the sort of pace that we're seeing some of the midfield drivers run. But as with everything, it's all of the drivers will tell you that if they could have pieced together all of their best bits of a lap, they would have set a really good lap time. That unfortunately rather delayed Claire Palser there in the number 9 car, who rejoins after a big lock-up trying to avoid the back of the sliding Naomi. Through they come again. The lead gap coming down slightly that time to 7 seconds, a new fastest lap set by Jake Wood, but it's still a big gap between the two of them. Everyone's starting to space themselves out a bit more now. About Alex Knox, is he catching Ben Hansey? Yes, he is, actually. He's 2 seconds faster right now. There's Richard Toon, who is a lap down in 10th position, and he's going to continue to be a lap down if he does that. Now, there's taking a bit too much speed into turn 1, and then there's not attempting to get around the corner at all. That seems to be what Richard did there, and unsurprisingly, he's in the pit lane. Maybe some sort of a braking issue. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because that was a very ambitious attempt to round that first corner. Leanne Morton's doing it better with her. You can't miss that car in the middle of a pack, can you? It really does stand out. Pink and purple wheels, and very nice looking car, actually, that. And Leanne is driving it in 7th place right now. On the previous lap, she wasn't as quick, though, as the drivers in front. So times are a bit all over the place. Drivers are regularly setting lap times that are seconds slower than they should be on one lap, and then 3 seconds quicker again the next time around. Consistency being tricky to find. Here though, continuing her recovery drive quite nicely. She just set her personal best lap time last time around, 1 minute 2.46, and is 9 seconds behind Claire Pulser. Also is going a bit quicker at the moment. Lots of drivers are actually suddenly dipping below the 60-second bracket. In fact, the top 4 drivers all just set nearly identical times. Martina Ward, the race leader, did a 59.75, Jake Wood a 59.74, Hansi a 59.69, and Alex Knox a 59.76. But Jake Wood has just taken the race lead. According to my timing screen, Martina Ward is off the road, and Jake Wood has got the lead, and Ben Hansi's gone second. Martina's in the pit lane. Oh no, Martina, what have you done? She was hanging on nicely. Oh, that's what she's done. She's upside down, and there's another car involved, which I think might have been Esther Quaitmere. It was a lap down. Here's what happened. Oh, Martina's up the inside on the curb. No contact there. Oh, and Esther gets on the grass, and that is really unfortunate. It's a humongous accident as well, as both cars bounce their way down the hill. But that is such a shame, because we're actually on the final lap of the race now as well. So she only had to hang on, Martina, for another lap and a bit, and she would have got the victory. But after tangling with the back marker there, sadly, she's out of the running, and that means that Jake Wood, despite not really being that much quicker than everyone else here today, it looks as though he is going to take a second consecutive Partners and Relatives Sunday special race victory. He comes down the hill into the final corner and back along the pit straight. The checkered flag is waiting for him. It's a 100% winning record so far for Jake Wood's iRacing career. He crosses the start-finish line and takes the race victory here at Lime Rock Park. A very considerable margin over, well, I was going to say Ben Hansi, if he doesn't throw it away. In fact, he is off the track coming out of the final corner and might just take the checkered flag on the grass. So he gets back on the track before he hits the start-finish line. That's well done. So he comes home in second. Alex Knox will be in third, and that's a good recovery drive. Lots of good recovery drives, actually, because Jess Henson's next. Jess Henson's going to get herself a 4th place finish as long as she doesn't tangle with Callum Sharp here through the final turn. She negotiates. Oh, yeah, she got a bit sideways. I'd stop talking there before I properly put the curse of the commentator on her. So Jess Henson will come home in 4th position. Pulser will get the better of Esther Quaitmere in their private little battle for 5th position. There goes Pulser across the line in 5th. Leanne Morton only 2 seconds back in the end in 6th position. Martina Ward is back on track and should come home in 7th. There she is. So she's made a visit to the pit lane for fast repairs, but she will come home in 7th position. Esther Quaitmere will be 8th, and Naomi Best, Callum Sharp, and Richard Toon are all a lap or so down. The flag, I promised you an entertaining race, and I don't think we can say that was anything but entertaining. You've got to feel for Martina Ward, though. She did nothing wrong there. It was Jake Wood who was able to take advantage of the moment, but yeah, Martina, in her mind, will be telling everyone should have won that race, and it would be hard to disagree with her, really. She made a good start this time, stayed out of trouble. She was under pressure from Jake earlier on, and it was Jake that had the spin that time around and really handed her that very, very big lead that she was then able to maintain to the flag. Black flag, by the way, has just been given to Ben Hansi. I know not why, but that will elevate, I think, Alex Knox and Jess Henson possibly onto the podium. But provisionally, what we have is Jake Wood with the victory, Ben Hansi second, but with a black flag to be dished out after the race. Alex Knox and Jess Henson third and fourth. Should both get themselves onto the podium, with Claire Pulser next, then Leanne Morton, Martina Ward, Esther Quaitmere, Naomi Best, Callum Sharp, and Richard Toon rounding out runners. So good racing once we got there in the end, and it was a thoroughly entertaining 10 minutes of action around the Lime Rock Classic circuit. Congratulations to Jake Wood, who gets himself the race win. And commiserations to Martina Ward, who ends up 7th, but that's not really the result she deserved. Hopefully, then, they've all enjoyed themselves. That's the main thing. And if they maybe have really caught the iRacing bug, we might see them appearing in things like the PDC Racing League in the near future. Yeah, definitely people like Jake Wood, Martina, Alex Knox, they've all clearly got the speed. So the likelihood of seeing them racing maybe some other iRacing championships in the future, that might be a possibility. So what I believe we're going to do now is have a word with a couple of people who have joined us outside of the commentary box, and Chris Knox is one of them. So we'll bring Chris in for a chat. So Chris Knox obviously was supporting his father there, Alex, who came through to take the third place on the road, but we think that will become second place with this post-race penalty for Ben Hansey. First of all, is it Alex or Chris that we've got here?
It's Alex.
Alex, great stuff. Well done. You're on the podium. It looks like you might get second place as a result of a penalty for Ben Hansey. The main thing, though, did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was good fun, apart from Chris screaming at me in the background.
I was going to ask whether he was supporting you quietly or whether he was telling you what to do.
Supporting me very loudly.
But I mean, he does know a thing or two about this, doesn't he? So I suppose it kind of helps to have someone with the racing experience he's got. But you yourself, I believe, have done a bit of pedaling in your past as well.
Yeah, I used to do Formula 4 1600 many years ago.
And was that in Scotland or was that around the UK in general?
Mainly Scotland, but Brands Hatch, Oulton Park. Did the festival a couple of times in one of the support races.
Nice. So you know all about these sort of single-seaters and the close quarters racing you get then?
Well, I wish I did, because I usually ended up finishing way down the list, but we've got our old Formula 4 back that I had 35 years ago.
Well, that is impressive. And is it in good nick again now?
Yeah, Christopher bought it from my significant birthday all the way from New Zealand.
Nice. So are you being tempted back onto the track in the real world once you're allowed to do so again?
I'll give it a go, but probably Chris will give it a better go than I will.
Yeah, he's not bad behind the wheel, is he, Chris? Well, congratulations anyway, Alex, on the podium finish, and hopefully we'll see you back if we have another one of these races in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Stuff. So Alex Knox, excuse me, there, then father of Chris Knox, mini challenge racing extraordinaire. Now we've got possibly Leanne Morton to have a chat with us. Showing up as Roger, but I suspect it might be Leanne that's going to join us in the comms box. Leanne, is that you?
Hi, yes.
There we go. How did you enjoy that then?
It was good, yeah.
Fun, isn't it? Pretty eventful for all of you out there. These cars are quite tricky to drive, aren't they?
They are, yes. Yeah.
How much sort of practice have you been putting in over the last week or so?
Nothing.
That's good preparation then. So were you a bit surprised when you got into the practice session earlier on at just how hard it was?
A little bit. So I did one 3 weeks ago, and I got, was it 10 minutes, 20 minutes practice? But this time I got about 40, so it's a little bit more.
It's a tough track though, isn't it? Was there any particular part of it that you were struggling with?
The first corner.
You weren't the only one, in fairness. I think most people had a spin there at some point, but you've just got to try and build that consistency in, haven't you? But it gives you some appreciation, I think, for the people that do this, particularly sim racing professionally. It is not as easy as it looks, is it?
It's not at all, no. I thought it was easy, but it wasn't.
Well, no, exactly. And I've sat here doing the commentary for this race, amused at all the stuff going on, but I know full well that if I tried it, I'd be pointing the wrong way as well. So it's not easy to do. Have you ever had any real world circuit experience at all, or was this a first for you?
I'm an autograss racer with Roger.
Nice.
So we do the grass track racing.
I expect you've got decent car control then from that.
Sort of. I've had a few misses and a few bangs, but got my own mechanic to sort it out.
Nice. And I think we all know who that might be. Has Roger been cheering you on in the background today?
He has, yes. He's told me a few pointers to make and that.
So he's been helpful then, actually. I know a couple of other people have said they've just been shouted at today, but he's actually been helping you out.
Yeah. I can't fault him.
Good stuff. That was the diplomatic answer. Well done. Well, congratulations anyway. Thanks for taking part. It really has been great fun watching you all out there.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, hopefully we'll have another one of these races in the near future. Leanne and everybody else can get out there and continue to enjoy their racing. So I think that might be it for interviews, possibly. Yeah, I think that was all we have time for. Thank you, everyone, for persevering through a couple of the technical issues that we had throughout the course of the afternoon. But when we got there, it was well worth it. And Jake Wood takes the race victory, despite the late drama there for Martina Ward. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see these drivers hopefully improving in future races as we maybe have a few more of these Sunday special races. We'll keep you posted, though. As ever, head over to Yearone Racing TV for information on future broadcasts. The schedule is packed these days, honestly, on Yearone Racing TV. So much racing action coming your way. On Monday, it is time for British Formula 4 iRacing Trophy once again at 7:30 p.m. Tomorrow, isn't it? Blimey, it really is a full. Almost every day now, there is some top-level sim racing on Yearone Racing TV. The British Formula 4 iRacing Trophy then heading into the middle part of its very competitive debut season. That's at 7:30 UK time tomorrow. On Tuesday at 8 p.m, the BSR MX-5 2020 Pro Series has another 4 one-make Mazda MX-5 races coming your way before the PowerMax Racing E-Series at 10 to 8 on Wednesday has its next set of races, I believe, coming to you from the Alton Park circuit, I seem to recall, for their midpoint of the season as well. You can have Thursdays off, so if you've got plans to make with friends and families, then Thursday night's the time to do it, because you want to be back on Friday for the 3rd race night of Season 2 for the PDC Racing Series at 8 o'clock. On Saturday, cricket at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, virtual cricket. If you've never seen it, I thoroughly recommend it. It will blow your mind, I can guarantee. And don't forget that later on this evening as well, we have the Excite Energy NHS Heroes Charity Race kicking off at 6:45 UK time tonight, all for a really good cause. You've got the our hard-working NHS who really do need all of the help we can give them. So tune in there if you can donate and help us out even better. If not, there'll be some great racing to enjoy this evening at 6:45 UK time, all on Yearone Racing TV. That, I think, is all we've got time for then, just about. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to all of the drivers as well that have taken part and put in some hard work to entertain us all in their racing exploits this afternoon. We'll keep you posted on if there's going to be a future Partners and Relatives race, but I sincerely hope that there is one. And we will see you all once again very shortly for more sim racing action on Yearone Racing TV.